Good afternoon. This is the video for September 13th, 2016. Like can only beget like. It is written, supposedly quoting God, quote, I am the Lord, and there is none else. There is no God besides me. I girded thee, though thou hast not known me, that they may know from the rising of the sun and from the west, that there is none beside me. I am the Lord, and there is none else. I form the light and create darkness. I make peace and create evil. I, the Lord, do all these things. End quote. It is interesting to me that this quotation is from Isaiah 45, and it is addressing Cyrus, king of Persia. Apparently, whoever this God is, he is schizophrenic. If that is the nature of our Creator, no wonder the world and human life itself is such a mess. No wonder mankind is lost, tossed about on the stormy seas of life without being given awareness to the most perplexing questions of life. To me, it's coming from a state of confusion. And like can only beget that which is like unto itself. I wrote that blurb several hours ago now. And for me, today has been a day of tremendous struggle. I hardly know where to jump in and how to begin and how to carry this out. I've wrestled with myself, with my own spirit all day long. I grew up believing the Bible to be the Word of God. I didn't read it with a critical mind, however. I read it with the mind of a child, basically. Not questioning, although I did question. But for the most part, I glossed over the things that didn't make sense. I was not as challenging in my own thinking to say, now, who might have said this? To me, no real loving God, no real creator, no omnipotent, omniscient one would ever say such blasphemy. And that's what it is to me. It is blasphemy. Only Satan, the devil, whatever nomenclature you want to put on the evil entity pretending to be God, this had to come from that source, not from a loving creator who had the best interest of his creation at heart and saw his creation, especially the humans within his creation, as his own children. When I say his, I don't really believe God is masculine or feminine, male or female. I believe God is gender neutral, or more specifically, perhaps, comprising both genders at the same time. I don't know there's probably a name for that, but I don't know what it is, and at least not in this moment. But I've wrestled with this concept throughout the day. I mean, I've listened to some videos by my friend, Phil Donahue. Not Phil Donahue. That's not his name. Bill Donahue. Sorry about that. Anyway, I've listened to several of his videos through the day, and many of them are along the same line, that what we believe of as God doesn't answer prayer, doesn't even hear us. I mean, because we are part of God, therefore God is God. He doesn't recognize what I've always taken as an absolute, that God is both within creation and beyond it. He accepts the within creation concept, but the beyond creation concept is rejected completely. When you reject either component of the nature of God, the all-encompassing within and the overruling without that is necessary for God to be God, you enter a world of insanity to me, a world where you can have a schizophrenic God that's being quoted here in Isaiah. It doesn't make sense to me, folks. And I grew up, as I've said so many times, reading the Bible through year after year. I have devoted my life to bringing the kingdom of heaven to earth. And the kingdom of heaven is based on truth, first and foremost. Truth. And this, what I just read to you, says that God creates lies, basically. God creates evil. Does that make sense to you? Have you ever looked at that with a critical eye? Or do you just accept it at face value and say, well, that's the way it is? That's how most of us are. That's the way it is. I'd rather die and be blotted out of life forever than to serve a God that creates evil on purpose. Apparently, it's on purpose. He's taking responsibility for the creation of evil. Not putting it on Lucifer or Satan or whatever nomenclature you want to apply to the evil one. Not putting it on that. And I just realized I had turned off the timer so that I didn't know how much time I had, but I just turned it back on. Anyway, I'm sorry, but I want to be a man of integrity. I've always prided myself on having integrity, on being willing to tell the truth, even when it was inconvenient, even when it maybe did not shine the light that I would like to shine, or would leave me in the eyes of those with whom I'm sharing the truth looked at as something less than, somehow, you know, an undesirable individual. All of us want to love and be loved. All of us want to be accepted. And I don't think that that's necessarily wrong. I don't think it's wrong at all. I think it should be a given that each human being is accepted for whatever they are, as long as they don't violate others. That's the only rule to me. In my mind, that's the only rule. I create good, and I want to see good created. I create and choose to create that which builds up, not that which tears down. You say, Ron, they're two sides of the same coin. Bullshit. They're two sides of the same coin. You can build up without tearing down. When Anastasia's great-grandfather was ready to die, he just went off and he talked with his great-great-grandson, or is it three greats? I don't even know. Talked with him and talked with Anastasia, talked with Vladimir Megra, who wrote the story. And then he just went off and gave up his ghost, as it says in some places. In other words, he just was ready to die and let go. No trauma, just like choosing to go to sleep and knowing that he wasn't going to wake up again in that body. I want to love, and I do love, a God that begets love and truth and justice. A God who stands for things that are of value, not a God who is valueless, not a God who has no moral standard, not a God who with impunity creates evil, as it says here. I oppose every concept of such a God and the very existence of such a being, if he or she or it exists. Thank you for listening to this video. Namaste.